let's take a look at our top selections for the... Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. Race number 9 at Belmont Park on Saturday is the Grade 1 Belmont Derby. Let's throw up the field. 3-year-olds going 1.25 miles on the inner turf. We've got several of the horses coming back from the Saratoga Derby. Domestic Spending won that race over the fast-closing Gufo. No Word was third after a ground-saving trip. It's an interesting spot. These horses are very well matched.
That's what I thought. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, Dan, I don't have any problem with the 3 horses coming out of the Saratoga Derby. They're the 3 shortest prices on the morning line. I don't know how much I love that race, and I don't know how much I want a short price on any of those horses, but I guess at the end of the day, they're probably the 3 most likely winners. One of them is anyway.
You take a look at the Timeform US pace projector for this race, and I have a feeling that this race might end up being run at a very slow clip. Mo Ready, the 3, is expected to make the lead. He's not exactly a blazer. You have the 8 Moon Over Miami in second. That horse came from 10th position last time out to win. He's not exactly a speed horse. I have a feeling they're not going very fast, and maybe that works against horses like the 2 Gufo. I do believe the 4 Domestic Spending can be closer.
Yeah, he can. I mean, if you want to make, money on a sure thing betting on anything, I guess, try and get a line on slow paces and turf races in New York, because that's all you get. And I do think this will be a slow pace as well. Domestic Spending, at least last time, Dan, he showed that he can get himself into position. And if he does that again in this race, I guess he's the horse to beat right back.
The number 1, No Word, was third in the Saratoga Derby, going out for trainer Todd Pletcher. This horse is improved a little bit since being stretched out in distance. I thought he ran well. Okay, I guess 2 starts back to win, and non-winners of 1 other than he got a nice trip in the Saratoga Derby. He saved ground all the way. He was finishing up a little bit at the end. I think what I like about No Word is that he's probably going to get a similar trip here.
I agree with you. I think he is going to get another good trip in here. I found it hard to, fall in love with him just because he did get such a good trip last time. And at the end of the day, he just wasn't good enough to get it done. I thought he ran fine 2 starts back. I actually felt like 3 back when he went 1.25 miles on this turf course. I thought he ran well that day against some older horses where he had a little bit of traffic in the stretch. So, the distance is good for him. He could fall into a good trip. He's not going to be the favorite. He could certainly improve again. There are things to like about this horse.
Like No Word, the number 2 Gufo really wants distance. He had a 4-race win streak snapped last time out in the Saratoga Derby. When he tried to come with his typical late run, he just missed. Domestic Spending got the jump on him here. If you believe the pace is slow, it could work against this horse because he does not have a lot of early speed.
I agree. The pace could really work against him. We'll see if he can overcome it this time. I thought maybe all in all, I slightly preferred him to Domestic Spending out of the Saratoga Derby. I mean, it's very close. I did like the finish that this horse came with. Once he got all the way out into the clear, I'm not suggesting he had a tough trip in there, but once he got all the way out into the clear for about the final furlong, he really ran at the end. And I like that performance for him because I didn't like his Kent all that much. But other than that, I like all the races this horse has run.
Todd Pletcher sends out the 1 No Word. He also has the 3 Mo Ready, stretching out off this victory, going 1 mile over the Saratoga inner turf. Now, keep in mind, this race is against New York-bred entry-level allowance horses. Mo Ready is on the outside. He tracked a rather slow pace. He's going to put this horse, Danfusi, away on the lead, and he's just going to be getting away at the very end. Stretching out, I can see him on the lead. He beat a couple of next out winners, but this is a huge jump in class. I mean, he's going to, A, really have to appreciate this added distance, and B, get a nice, easy breather on the lead.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of those things are true. Listen, if you like him, he's going to be a huge price in this race, and he'll be on the lead for at least a little while.
Domestic Spending has won 3 of 4, including this race, the Saratoga Derby, last time out for Chad Brown. Great ride by Arad Ortiz, who got this horse close up to the pace. He's the number 4 in the red and white silks. He's working hard right now. Down towards the inside is No Word in the white cap, who has a look at it. And you're going to see Gufo on the far outside. Now he's getting optimal clearance, and he's beginning to roll. But Domestic Spending got the jump on Gufo, who was really flying at the end.
Yeah, Gufo did really run well at the end. I don't really have any knocks on Domestic Spending, Dan. You saw in that video there through the, the upper stretch, he wasn't really initially anyway gaining any ground, but he did stay to the end. And I guess that's a little bit of a feather in his cap that that the added distance may not be a problem for him. He is certainly a talented horse. I guess in a lot of ways, he's the horse to beat. Again, I just don't really love that race, Dan. I almost feel like the horse that finished fourth in the Saratoga Derby probably ran the best race, and he's not back in here. And that just sort of makes me not want to take the horses that finished 1, 2, 3.
South Bend's a very likable horse. He's now under the tutelage of Belmont. He's raced 13 times already. He's a stakes winner at 2 on dirt. And while he hasn't won on turf, he's run some really nice races on the surface. A couple of nice stakes placings included a graded in the Palm Beach. They ran him in the Derby last time. It didn't work out. They ran him against Tis the Law in the Travers. He passed some tired horses. He's a horse, though, that kind of like Gufo, he doesn't have a lot of early speed. I think he lacks the upside of some of these horses. And I just think he needs a little more pace.
I agree. I mean, I think all those things are true. He's very versatile as far as surface goes. You can run on either dirt or turf, and distance doesn't feel like a problem either. But he just has no early speed. And I certainly don't think he's the best closer in the race, Dan. I guess the positive is if you want somebody from off the pace, he's a huge price in here, and Gufo is one of the favorites.
Pixelate was run down by Gufo 2 starts back in the Kent going 1 1/8, but he proved he could handle that distance in his subsequent start. This is the Del Mar Derby in early September, and Pixelate was a horse who got close up to the pace. He's in the familiar Godolphin blue with the white blinkers, and he's just going to wear this field down at the end. Now, the horse on the lead was a 50-1 shot. And the horse that's on the lead right now is a 12-1 shot. And Pixelate was supposed to win. He had to work. Do you think 1.25 miles is a little far for this horse? Because I think he can pull a good trip.
Yeah, I agree with that. I appreciate that he has tactical speed. And I actually like him as a horse. I'm a fan of Pixelate's. I don't know about the distance. And I also just don't know that he's good enough to beat this field. I mean, he ran fine last time, but just a repeat of that effort, I don't think that's going to beat this field.
Danny Gargan has a couple of nice 3-year-old turf horses in his barn. I think Don Juan Kitten's getting ready to go in the Murphy at Pimlico on Saturday. And now he's got Venezuelan Hug, a horse that he took for $40,000 earlier this year. This was a big-time performance. The first time they really stretched him out in distance to 1 1/8. Let's watch Venezuelan Hug's win on August the 1st. He's on the outside in the gray. He's the gray horse in the teal silks. And boy, he's a little green. He's looking at the stands. He's still trying to figure the game out. But once they straighten him out, he wins pretty easily.
Yeah, he actually buried this field. I mean, he sat last early behind a relatively slow pace in this race, swept the field on the turn and just kept going. I like this performance from him. Anybody who's, sort of followed my analysis in New York lately knows that I'm a huge fan of this horse. I've really liked everything he's done basically since Gargan claimed him. His 2 wins at Gulfstream were really impressive, closing down slow paces. You have to reconcile the Pennine Ridge, I guess, if you want to bet him back in this race, because that was the first time they really tested him. He did not run at all. And so now he's got to prove that he's a stakes quality horse, but he took a big step forward last time. I don't know, Dan. I like this horse. I think he'll get the distance, and I think he's going to be a price in this race. I think all those things add up to me wanting to use him.
Blinkers have really made the difference for the 8, Moon Over Miami. Mott put the blinkers on. He's won 2 of 3, including this race in the Dueling Grounds Derby. And this is a pretty striking stretch run for Moon Over Miami. I mean, he just sweeps by everybody with about 3/16 of a mile to go. And then he holds on with a nice performance. This is a horse that's coming into his own right now, Mike, but he's another one that just doesn't have a lot of speed.
I wonder what kind of trip he'll get in here. I think it's pretty clear, though, Dan, that he's really improved, especially like at his last 3 starts. They put the blinkers on him, and I think he really has taken a step forward. His Hall of Fame wasn't bad at all when he was 4th, just behind Domestic Spending. He didn't run poorly at all in that race. I struggle with those Kentucky Downs races, Dan. I don't know how to evaluate them. I don't know if horses are going to carry their form out of those races. But he ran big last time. He had to be, 5, 6, 7 wide all the way around the turn, and he just kept going.
Let's watch the number 9, A Journey to Freedom's most recent race. This is an optional claimer at Del Mar, an $80,000 race. We see him easing to the outside, and he's going to get up for second. And you would think just by looking at his current form that he's in a little bit tough here. But he was claimed by Michael Maker. And that's just been a big angle over the years. Maker claiming interesting turf horses, stretching them way out in distance and making hay often at good prices. If it wasn't for Maker, I would probably readily throw him out. Now I got to give him a second glance.
I hear what you're saying. I don't disagree with any of that. I mean, I still threw him out, but I understand that Maker off the claim makes him a little more dangerous.
Let's take a look at our top selections for race number 9 at Belmont. It is the Belmont Derby. I'm just hoping for a good trip for No Word. He is going to have to improve, obviously, if he's going to take down the 2 horses that beat him in the Saratoga Derby. But I do think maybe he has some upside potential. He likes the distance and he's run well at Belmont. You are a big fan of Venezuelan Hug. Listen, I could certainly see this horse explode with a late run. He's all upside.
Yeah, that's how I looked at it. I mean, I was, at the end of the day, once I decided I wasn't going to take the Saratoga Derby horses, I was sort of torn between the 7 and the 8. I put them 1, 2, and I'm just going to take a shot in here. They should both be good prices.
7824 for Mike, 1428 for me. Grade 1 Belmont Derby, race number 9 at Belmont on a fantastic Saturday afternoon card. This race has an approximate post of 5:06 Eastern. Best of luck.